In the annals of World War II, a unique chapter unfolds that showcases not just the valor of soldiers, but the ingenuity of artists. This is the story of the Ghost Army, a clandestine unit whose mission was to deceive the enemy through the power of art and illusion. Formed in 1944, the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops was a collective of roughly 1,100 men, many of whom were artists, designers, and sound engineers. Their task was audacious, to create a facade of military strength that would mislead the German forces and ultimately help secure victory for the Allies. The Ghost Army was born out of necessity. As the war raged on, the Allies faced the daunting challenge of confronting a formidable German military machine. Intelligence revealed that the Nazis were not only well-equipped, but also adept at interpreting troop movements and resources. To counter this, the Allies needed to divert attention, mislead, and confuse the enemy. Enter the Ghost Army, a group of creative minds who would use their talents to craft illusions that would baffle the Wehrmacht. At the heart of the Ghost Army's operations was the idea of deception through art. The unit employed a variety of techniques, including inflatable tanks, dummy artillery, and sound effects to simulate the presence of large troop movements. These inflatable decoys were ingeniously designed to mimic the appearance of real military equipment. When viewed from a distance, they could easily convince an enemy observer that a significant force was preparing for an offensive. The Ghost Army would stage elaborate setups, placing these inflatable tanks and vehicles in strategic locations, creating a mirage of strength that would draw German attention away from genuine Allied operations. In addition to visual deception, the Ghost Army also utilized sound to enhance their ruse. They created a soundscape that replicated the noise of an active military camp. By broadcasting sounds of trucks, voices, and machinery, they conveyed the impression of a bustling army preparing for battle. This auditory illusion was crucial in convincing the enemy that they were facing a much larger force than they actually were. The unit's sound engineers meticulously crafted these recordings, ensuring that the sounds were convincing enough to mislead even the most discerning ears. The artists who comprised the Ghost Army were not just skilled in their respective crafts. They were also deeply aware of the psychological dimensions of warfare. They understood that the battlefield was not merely a physical space, but a realm of perception. Their work was not just about creating illusions. It was about manipulating the enemy's understanding of reality. Each operation was a carefully orchestrated performance, with the artists acting as both creators and actors in a grand play of deception. The Ghost Army's operations were marked by a series of successful missions that had a significant impact on the war. One of their most notable achievements occurred during the crossing of the Rhine River in 1945. As Allied forces prepared for this critical offensive, the Ghost Army deployed their inflatable tanks and sound equipment to create the illusion of a massive buildup of troops on one side of the river. The Germans, convinced that a large-scale assault was imminent, redirected their resources to counter this perceived threat, allowing the real Allied forces to launch their attack elsewhere with greater effectiveness. Despite the critical role they played, the Ghost Army remained largely unknown to the public for decades after the war. The secrecy surrounding their operations was paramount. Revealing their tactics could compromise future military strategies. Many of the artists who served in the unit returned to civilian life, often without recognition for their contributions. It was not until the 1990s that their story began to emerge, thanks in part to the efforts of historians and veterans who sought to shine a light on this remarkable chapter of military history. The legacy of the Ghost Army extends beyond the battlefield. It raises important questions about the nature of war, the role of creativity in conflict, and the power of perception. In an era where information warfare and psychological operations are increasingly prevalent, the lessons learned from the Ghost Army are more relevant than ever. Their ability to manipulate reality through art reminds us that perception can be as powerful as physical force. The artists of the Ghost Army were not merely soldiers. They were visionaries who understood that the battlefield extended into the realm of imagination. They transformed the art of war into a canvas of deception, using their skills to create a narrative that would shape the course of history. Their contributions remind us that in the chaos of conflict, creativity can serve as a formidable weapon. As we reflect on the Ghost Army, we celebrate not just their ingenuity, but the spirit of collaboration that defined their work. This unit was a melting pot of talents, drawing from diverse backgrounds and disciplines to achieve a common goal. Their story is a testament to the power of teamwork and the idea that sometimes the most effective strategies are born from the minds of artists rather than traditional military leaders. In a world that often prioritizes brute strength over cunning, the Ghost Army stands as a reminder that intelligence, creativity, and artistry can be just as vital in the pursuit of victory. Their legacy is not just one of deception, but of hope. Hope that even in the darkest times, the human spirit can find ways to adapt, innovate, and ultimately triumph. The Ghost Army may have faded into obscurity for years, but their story is a powerful reminder of the extraordinary potential that lies within the intersection of art and warfare, a narrative that continues to inspire and captivate.